shock, disbelief, and horror, followed by grief, mourning, and anger. All of us indeed have lost a lot. We've lost thousands of lives. We have lost some of our self-confidence. We have lost some of our freedom. And certainly we have lost a way of life. The President of the United States has said it is time to go back to work. And so, despite a heavy heart, baseball gets up out of the dirt, brushes itself off, and will follow his command, hoping in some small way to inspire the nation to do the same. All of the ball players in the major leagues are wearing the American flag. Out of patriotism, yes. Out of love of country, yes. But more so out of duty and of courage, and to pronounce a national firmness of will. God bless us in our efforts. God bless America.
Hey there, this is Real Talk Baseball. I'm Carlos Baseball. With me, as always, is Ernie Orange. A different intro for today in 9/11. So before we begin the show, Ernie, how's it going, man? How was your weekend?
Hey, Carlos, that was great, man. We just enjoyed the cool weekend here in LA. A little bit of football to catch up on, and baseball, man. We're tuning into the last month of baseball and getting exciting to get to the playoff season.
Yeah. It's the playoff push right now. But before we go into that, you saw the video. What were you doing on 9/11? How did you find out, or what was the news like around your area when you were growing up?
Yeah, Carlos, I was in the 5th grade, man, going to 5th grade class, and I was scared, man. I didn't know what was going on. We were watching it on TV. I remember my teacher talking about it. You know, I was confused. I didn't know what was going to happen. What was the next things that were going to happen? I was wondering, like, are they going to attack LA next? We're also a big metropolitan city here. I was very afraid. And then when I heard the word war, I was like, what's going on? And I was kind of scared for my cousins that were much older than me. I'm like, are they going to have to go to war? It was a lot of scary feelings out there, man. How about you?
Dude, I was a senior in high school, so I had just started. I think it was the second week of school. I was still working at this place called Salvation Army as an operator, so I would just schedule appointments for people to put out in their driveways, and then the driver will go pick them up. So all morning, I didn't hear anything. I mean, I did hear that the Twin Towers got attacked and we got attacked or whatever. It's going to be a war, but I didn't know how bad it was until I got home at 8 at night. So I went to school in the morning, went to work, got off at 7, got on the metro, got home, and all I wanted to do was just relax. And I see this thing on the news. It was just like crazy. It was impactful. So I wasn't 18 yet, but it kind of meant like, oh man, is it going to mean that I have to go to war? I have to enlist. I have to do all these things. I mean, it sucked. So all I remember is that there was no planes in the sky that day. There was only jets. There was a lot of uncertainty for sure. There was no sports. I mean, we just had this in with the COVID season, we didn't have a lot of sports and that's happened the same time, here. So baseball was the first thing that came out after everything was shut down. And of course, it's always our greatest pastime. And, that's here we are. So we have a great show, though. We have a great show for sure. So,
and it was a very memorable 2001 season for baseball. You had the Yankees in the World Series against the Diamondbacks, had an underdog story. Diamondbacks come back to win it in Game 7 against Mariano Rivera. What an incredible season. What an incredible year of baseball, even though given all the circumstances going around New York.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, so do you think that the Yankees and the Mets should play that 9/11 game? I mean, there's been talks about that, right?
Yeah, why not? It would be a special day for New Yorkers, and I think everybody would enjoy it. Now, today in football, you have the Buffalo Bills that also represent New York, and the Jets going at it at MetLife Stadium. So that's also a cool thing going on today on Monday night.
That's true. Yeah, I think they should make it a tradition. I mean, it's going to be kind of hard because it's not always on Monday. It always falls different. So it's 22 years ago this happened. So it's time to do something important, especially in baseball. Remember, baseball was one of the first sports, like I mentioned before. We have a message on here. Let's see. Chewy, it's on here. So what's up, gentlemen? Thank you for this hour, power hour of baseball. Of course, man. Anytime. And he's not on today, but he will be on the chat. If you guys have any questions, he would answer, and we will answer, of course, like we always do on this show. But we do have a good show for you guys today, and let me go through the list of things that we're going to be talking about, because there's a few things that we want to go ahead and talk about. So, Mike Trout, I don't know if you guys heard the news, but the Angels gave, I guess, a message out there saying that they're willing to trade him. George Kirby, Roger Clemens. I don't know if you've heard of that, but we'll talk about it here. World Series bound or not, there's teams out there that are ready to go, and there's some teams that are not. And we'll talk about that, of course. And then, how would you change the extra inning scenario if you had the opportunity to do that? We'll ask Ernie, and I'll give my opinion on that as well. And then we'll go through the did you know? And of course, as you guys put your questions up there, we'll go ahead and put them on here. But let's go ahead with the series recap of last week, and we'll start with you, Ernie, on the AL if you don't mind doing that.
Yeah. Let's get that started. The AL Series recap was a lot of games this week. We had the Padres and Astros this week. Astros took 2 out of 3 games from the Padres, and the Astros give themselves a 2.5 game lead in the AL West, while the Padres are out of contention in the NL West now. The A's and Rangers went at it this weekend. The Rangers took 2 out of 3 games from the A's. They won the rubber match with finally finding their offense back with 12 hits on the A's. And currently the Rangers find themselves a half game behind from the Blue Jays now. So the wild card has mixed up a little bit. We'll bring that up right now. And the White Sox and Tigers, we had the Tigers win 2 out of 3 games from the White Sox. And now the White Sox are officially out of playoff contention. Sorry, Jasper, if you're hearing this, there's a next year for the White Sox. Then we have they have the Orioles and Red Sox. The Orioles took 2 out of the 3 games from the Red Sox, and they continue to dominate in the AL East, so they still catch themselves in first place. And this was a potential playoff matchup this week. Mariners and Rays. The Rays took 3 out of 4 games from the Mariners, and they were able to slow down the Mariners after being the hottest team in August. The Mariners now catch themselves in the last place of the wild card spot and catch themselves a half game above the Rangers. And we also had the Royals and Blue Jays. The Blue Jays swept the Royals over the weekend, and they finally got into the second wildcard spot. And we had the Mets Twins. The Twins took 2 out of 3 games from the Mets, and they got to extend their lead in the AL Central. The Brewers and Yankees, which was an interesting game last night. The Brewers took 2 out of 3 games at Yankee Stadium. The Yankees were able to win the rubber match yesterday. Actually, were able to avoid the sweep, but Kirby Burns was pitching a no-hitter, and it went into the extra innings, and it wasn't until the extra innings till the Yankees finally got the win. And lastly, the Guardians and Angels. The Angels actually won the series finally. They were able to win 3 out of 4 games to take the Guardians out of playoff contention in the AL Central. So it was a pretty interesting week in the American League out there. There's finally teams out there kind of positioning themselves in the playoffs positions, and we're going to see how this all turns out in the playoffs.
Yeah, and that's pretty cool that we're going to talk about the extra innings, because this scenario here, it's one of those where you're like, what the hell? There's a no-hitter going into that. And I saw some good plays from the Brewers, so they were playing good defense when that was happening. So, whatever. Let's go into the NL recap, and I'll start with the Marlins Phillies. The Marlins took 2 out of 3 in that series. In their last 10, they're 8-2, so they're playing good baseball. The Phillies are only 4-6 in the last 10. They're not so good, but I mean, it's okay. It happens. It better happen now than later in the playoffs. So these two teams are still the Phillies are kind of take the top wild card spot, but the Marlins are fighting for the last spot. And then we got the Nationals and the Dodgers. The Dodgers took 2 out of 3 out of that one. The Dodgers haven't been playing good baseball, but with all the news that's been happening with them, with the pitching, Julio Urias, they just cleaned out his locker. Pretty much, they're just saying, that's it. We're not getting them anymore. That's it for him. But the last 10, they're 4-6, so they need to step up their game on that one. The Pirates and the Braves. The Braves took 2 out of 3 in that one. The Braves are playing good baseball, 6-4 in their last 10. The Cardinals and Reds. The Cardinals took that series, which kind of surprises me that that's a rivalry going on there. And the Reds are not playing to their full potential, and they're trying to go into the playoffs. They're 5-5, and they need to step up their game if they want to go into that last wild card spot. And then you have the D-backs at Cubs. That was a 4-game set. The D-backs took 3 out of that 4. So that's a pretty good one. The D-backs are 6-4 in their last 10, and the Cubs are 5-5. But the Cubs are sitting nicely in that second spot of the wild card, so they're doing pretty good. And then the Rockies and Giants, which is another series where the Giants just swept the Rockies, and why not? The Rockies don't have a lot of things going for them right now. But, as the playoffs are coming, you're seeing that wild card, and you see those 4 teams fighting for that last wild card spot. Do you feel like one of these 4 teams is gonna, or maybe the Reds are gonna make it to the last final wild card spot, Ernie? Or do you feel like the top 3 that are right now, that's gonna stay like that?
I'm, it's kind of crazy. Last week we were talking about 4 teams in the wild card being tied for that last spot, right? And now this weekend, the Diamondbacks just came in really strong and swept the Cubs. It was kind of surprising, and actually, I do believe these 3 teams are going to stay the last 3 wild card spots. I don't see the Reds or Giants or the Marlins making any moves, like winning any more games, crucial games to get that last wild card spot. What about you?
Man, dude, there's a lot of things happening with this last wild card spot. I think the D-backs have enough to make that push to stay in front of the other 3 teams. But then again, I don't see the Giants doing anything, but I might be wrong. But I don't know, man. You still say that the Cubs are going to win the NL Central. They're 3 games back. They still have a chance to do that. So maybe they switch spots. And then the other thing is, I think I'm picking the Arizona Diamondbacks. I'm still picking the Diamondbacks, but we'll see. We'll see what happens right there. We got a question on here, and let me go ahead and post it from Jamal.
Yeah, it looks like Jamal's actually asked. Jamal's asking, what do you guys think about Pete Crow Armstrong getting the call up? Think he gets the Cubs to the postseason? Well, I think he's going to be a great addition to the team. I'm not sure if he's going to get much playing time now, but he's definitely going to be an extra bat in the lineup, and I think he'll be great for the Cubs.
Yeah, I agree, and I think it's a good time to bring him up. I think it's just for experience and everything that goes along with it, because you have some players not going to be part of the Cubs team next year. So giving them that exposure and that run for the playoffs can definitely do good. Now, there's been times where you have call-ups and they've been doing a lot good in this last month, and you get in that, and you get sneaked into that playoff roster. So don't be surprised that happens, right?
Yeah, man, that really does happen. It happens a lot in baseball, actually. But an interesting fact about Pete Crow Armstrong, I was reading a tweet today. I'm not sure how accurate this is, but you remember the movie Rookie of the Year? I know you're great with movies, Carlos.
Yeah.
Rookie of the Year, the mom.
No, it's not Rookie of the Year. It's not Rookie of the Year. It's Major League the manager one. The one
with the guy with the Cubs pitcher, the little kid that pitches for the Cubs.
Oh, it is that one? Okay.
Yeah, so basically, supposedly, I read this tweet. I'm not sure how accurate it is. Maybe you guys can find out right now when you guys are just texting on your phone. But it looks like Pete Crow's mom is a mom that acts out as it's a mom in the movie, the actress that played the movie in Rookie of the Year.
Really? I thought it was Major League, the other one, the Major League, the little kid that was a manager for the Twins. No?
Oh, that's a different one. I'm talking about the one where he plays the Cubs movie, the little kid.
Yeah, I know which one you're talking about, Rookie of the Year. But damn, dude, that's crazy that the mom actually has a little boy's gonna play with the Cubs and play in the major leagues. That's pretty crazy, huh?
Yeah, I thought it was pretty funny. I mean, how is this possible? But I'm not sure how true that is. You know how there's I can't rely on every source you read online.
Yeah. No, I mean, you're on the ball on that one. I do remember the movie. But there's a lot of other movies that they're speculating that they're saying. So that's why I'm kind of confused. Is it the Rookie of the Year? Is it the one with the Twins manager? And then they mention another movie. So there's 3 movies they're trying to put out there that they're saying that the mom it comes out in that movie. But I'm pretty sure as he comes out, they're gonna confirm it and they're gonna say, yeah, no, it's this movie. This is the movie where she came out in. And now he has his son playing in the major leagues, which is pretty cool. I like that. That's a really good what do you call it? That's a really good did you know, pretty much. That's awesome story. I mean, that's a did you know moment. Yeah, exactly. A did you know moment. All right, man, guys, let's continue. Let's continue with our show, man. And we do have the next slide, and I know if everybody's talked about this already because it came out in everybody's phone and everybody's talking about it, and it's Mike Trout. The Angels, man. The Angels are pretty much telling everybody, if you guys want to go, you guys can go. So do you feel like Mike Trout's going to ask for the trade to the Angels?
Had you asked me early in the season, I would have said no. But the way the front office has been working and the way the Angels organization has been going, we're about to lose Shohei by the end of the season. And if I'm Mike Trout, I'm going to head out too. I'm not going to waste my last 10 years of my career trying to rebuild again. I do not blame him for wanting to leave if he does choose to do so. And I think it's the right move to end his career going back home east. He still has 7 years left of a $268 million contract. He still has plenty left on his contract. Now, my only question is, what team has enough money to pay for that Mike Trout contract? It's a pretty big one out there. When it came out, that $430 million, it was a big one. If I'm the Yankees and the Phillies, I'm calling. They're the top teams, teams that would want to have him. Who wouldn't want to have Mike Trout? I just don't see the Yankees having enough money to be able to have Judge, Garrett Cole, and then Mike Trout's contract, And then if you have the Phillies, they can't pay Bryce Harper and Mike Trout and Trey Turner. There's no way.
Yeah.
So I don't know. If I'm him, I'm leaving. What would you do if you're Mike Trout, Carlos?
Dude, I would ask for a trade. No questions asked. I would do that for sure because I feel like they need to go ahead and do something. He needs to get better, or he needs to get that chance to go to the playoffs and have that better stat, that 1-11, which is not that bad. He hit a home run, he got an RBI, but that .83 batting average is not that good. It doesn't look good for him. So I think if he does want to go somewhere, because I think he does have the no trade clause, right? I think he needs to go ahead and approve it. But he's getting older, his back issues. We don't know how bad it's going to get as it moves on. And that's another thing, too. Like, the Angels are probably going to want more than just 2-3 players because they missed out on the Ohtani trade, getting the whole freaking minor league for him. And now you have Trout, where they're trying to rebuild and they're trying to go and say, you know what, we'll trade Trout away and we'll get whatever we can. Now, are the Angels willing to take a little bit for him and get rid of his salary? That's something we're going to have to wait and see. But I have another question for you. Do you think it was the right time for the Angels to announce this? You think they should have waited till the season ended and then started, moving things around, right?
I truly do believe that it should have waited to the end of the season. I'm not sure what's going on with the Angels organization this year. They're just making some crazy moves, coming out with these news out there really quick. Like, wait, just hold off a little bit. Let's get all together and see what's going to be the final plan before you let the media know what's going to really happen.
Yeah.
It kind of feels kind of bad. Mike Trout's an East Coast guy, Carlos. He spends most of his off season with his family watching the Eagles play out there in the Philly. He tends to go to more NFL playoff games than he does with his actual team. It's kind of sad. Every year I watch him in Philadelphia with his raincoat and with some gloves and a beanie and rooting for the Eagles. I mean, this guy's a Philly kid. Why wouldn't I want to go back there and compete and make it to the playoffs? It's just sad to me, Carlos. We had Ohtani and Trout, the 1-2 punch in MLB, the two greatest players we've had in this decade, and they couldn't make it to October baseball. And it's just kind of frustrating. And I hope the best for him. It's been 4 seasons of him going to the IL, and it's kind of frustrating for him. I know he wants to go out there and compete, and it's kind of hurting his statistics a lot. I know he was on the verge of getting almost close to 600 home runs to end his career, but the more and more I look at it, he looks like he's going to be a 500 home run guy, and that's about it. And maybe I don't think he could even get to 3,000 hits.
And that sucks, dude, because the back injury is what's kind of holding him back a little bit. And I know a lot of people are saying that Mike Trout, why not trade for Mike Trout? But it's not the same Mike Trout of 3-4 years ago before his back issues were happening. I mean, this man was playing good baseball. I mean, he still is. He's still hitting home runs. He's still performing. But it's this injury that's happening. And it's a lot to do with the clubhouse as well. Remember, we talked about CJ Wilson saying that they didn't have enough, food, nutrition, or they didn't have the right, equipment for them to work out and stuff like that. So that has a lot to do with it, a lot. And I know you as a fan, like, you hate hearing other people tell you these things, because I know when I'm a fan, like, of Dodgers, and then someone tells me, oh, Uri has this, and that. Like, yeah, man, it already happened, but it is what it is, right? And it sucks.
No, and you're truly right. And the Angels organization has just been dealing with a lot of injuries over the years. And like you said, not having the right equipment to train these players. There's something out there going on in the Angels organization. Whoever is the strength and conditioning coach is definitely going to get fired at the end of the season. There's over 10 Angels players that are in season-ending injuries already. And, like Jamal said, rumor has it, whenever an Angels front office person lets a star player walk, they get their wings. Hey, maybe I truly probably believe that these past 10 years, man, if you ask me. There's a lot of players that leave the Angels and perform much better out there. I'm not sure what it is. It's not like the media is really bad out here in LA. I know the Dodgers get way more attention than the Angels players do.
Yeah.
So I don't know what's going on here.
Yeah. uh, I'm just reading the comment. Jamal. All
Carlos
right.
got
Yeah. It's one of those things where I mean, we talked about the Angels a lot already, and that's one of those things where we should be talking more like, hey, these owners or the owner from the Angels needs to step up. We've been talking about the A's owner, how he's selling. He doesn't want to sell the team because he wants to move the team to Nevada, and next to the Oakland Raiders stadium. I guess they want a new stadium or whatever. And we do have the Angels that are almost doing the same thing. They're not putting a team out there and compete. I mean, you have Ohtani and you had Trout, and you still didn't put some good, offense for them, or some pitching.
They
So
really needed the pitching, Carlos, and that's where they always struggle. They always think with these guys, with Ohtani, he'll be our number one pitcher, but like, yeah, he needs more support than just Ohtani. We need another number one, number two starter. Tyler Anderson didn't pan out. You see how a great year he had with the Dodgers last year? He gets
yeah,
paid, comes to the Angels, doesn't perform. Anthony Rendon getting paid $38 million doesn't want to play because he hit himself with a shin with a baseball. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. That's not a major injury. It looks like the guy's not interested in baseball anymore. There's just so many problems going on, and somebody has to be held accountable at the end of the season. So we'll see how it all pans out.
I agree, and we'll see what happens at the end of the season. Who's going to call the Angels, where he's going to go, because there's going to be a lot of rumors going around,
man,
and we're going to be here for that. So
wouldn't be surprised that the Angels have to pay some of that contract just to get rid of it.
You know what? That's what I'm kind of fearing for the Angels, because if they do that, they're not going to have enough money to go ahead and get a player if they really have him from their minor league and then pay him. Like we heard from the Nationals this week that they don't want to pay Strasburg because if you guys don't know, Strasburg is out. He doesn't have feeling in his fingers anymore. He has a nerve-ending damage, which sucks for him. He
really
had Tommy
sad.
John. Yeah, really sad story there. But the Nationals don't want to pay him. They don't want to pay him that money anymore. So we'll see what happens with that as it develops. But I'm pretty sure they're going to do something like a Bobby Bonilla type of contract.
They're definitely going to have to.
Right? They have to do something. The Nationals don't have that much money, but whatever they do, they're paying it to Strasburg, and whatever they had left, they're willing to pay it to Soto. But that's why they traded him off.
You know what? If I'm the Nationals, I'm calling right now and asking about Mike Trout. Hey, man, you were going to pay Juan Soto over 400 and something million. Scott Boras wanted more. He wanted 500, never got it. If I'm them, I'm calling Mike Trout. Why not have this generational talent in my team in the Nationals and it's surrounded with all these young players? And they do have the talent because they got a lot of trade picks from Juan Soto trade.
Yeah. Hey, what's up, Ryan Reyes, man? Thanks for jumping in. We did see you last week. Thanks for jumping in, for subscribing and liking the video. Jamal, dude, we didn't even say what's up to you. You said what's up in the beginning of the show. I thought we did. And then Chewy, what's up, dude? How's it going? And then we have Chicks Loves Baseball too. How's it going? And then we do have another one on here that I think I missed. Oh, yeah, the Gutierrez Cheeks. How's it going? Just want to give you guys a shout out because you guys are always on the show, and you guys are always liking our comments and making this show what it is, because when you guys put comments out there, it's easier for us to talk, and it makes it easier for us to navigate through the show, since we were talking about Trout, right?
Right. We do appreciate your comments, and we also appreciate to hear different opinions from other people. Me and Carlos have our type of views, but there's the typical baseball fan has a whole different view out there. There's an old school baseball fans, and there's a new generational fans. So we get to see a lot of different views and opinions.
Yeah, dude. And that brings us to the next topic. That's good that you brought the new school and the old school. So go ahead, man.
Right. Yeah. So if you guys are not aware, Friday night, George Kirby, pitcher for the Mariners, was pitching a great game. He was heading to the sixth inning with 92 pitches. He goes into the seventh inning and he gives up a game-tying 2-run home run on his 102nd pitch. And after the post-game interview, this guy was so upset with himself. He made a comment saying, "I wish I wasn't out there for the seventh inning, to be honest." And a lot of fans, and a lot of ex-baseball pitchers were really upset at him. You're like, what do you mean? You really want to stay at the game the whole time. And this guy was kind of saying, like, you know what? I would have rather just sat out. The guy did come back and apologize and said the next day he didn't mean to say what he said. It's a young kid, made a mistake. Most of the time, media will try to trap you and try to get those answers that they want to just to make a bigger thing out of something. And this guy fell into the trap, man. He was really frustrated with his performance. What do you
Yeah, but
think?
the new mentality though, the new mentality of you going out there for the seventh inning and you not having what it takes to get out of the seventh inning, because he said that he wasn't. I don't know why he was out there in the seventh inning, right? That's what he was saying. So the mentality. Why not talk about it in the dugout before you go out there? Why not say, you know what, coach? You know what? I just feel like I don't have it anymore. Like it's okay. You have a mouth. You know, like you have to speak it out. You have to win that game because that game is important. You know, so and on pitch 102, that's when he gave up that home run and it gave that game tying home run. You have pitchers out there like Roger Clemens saying that this is tough to hear would not fly in old days. And hell no, it wouldn't fly because you didn't want the bullpen to come in if you were a starter. Like Roger Clemens was one of those big bulls that was like, I just want to go ahead and pitch the full game if I can. So modern analytics is what's taking over new pitchers now, which is making it a little bit more, I guess, understandable, difficult. What's the right word for that? Because I honestly don't understand why Kirby said that. I just feel like if I'm gonna go out there the seventh inning, it's because I'm gonna compete and I'm gonna finish the seventh inning. You know,
Definitely. And, looking at analytics, it's a big thing. It's a new thing into the game of baseball. George Kirby understands that every time he faces a third batter, the third time, he definitely struggles. The stats, tells it how it is. But the guy, he should have just kept it in. You're bringing a good point, Carlos. He should have just told his coach, his manager, and the dugout. I don't understand why he would tell the media. And it just looks really bad for the game of baseball and how all these pitchers are being taught with analytics. It's not great for the game. And, looking forward, I think George Kirby understands that he made a big mistake and he definitely apologized and did the right thing. But it didn't look good for the old timers, man. They were not too happy. Jerry Weaver also threw out a tweet out there like, grow some balls. And, people were just pretty upset.
Yeah, dude, it's just you're okay. So I'm in the mentality of the old school, right?
Right.
I'm pretty sure you are too. And when it comes to like going to taking a bat or trying to throw a strike or trying to compete, you need to be vocal. You need to say like, hey, I want the ball, or I want to bat, or I want to go out in the outfield. I want to make a play. Now you're saying when Kirby came out and said that, I was just looking at it like, what? Like, no, dude, like you don't do that. You're making yourself look bad. You're making your teammates look bad. Is it the competition where you feel like maybe I just gave everything I had and I gave it in the sixth inning and that was it? But then he didn't say anything, dude. And that's what makes him look a little bit bad. And that's why Roger Clemens, Jarrett Weaver, and there was other pitchers that were out there that was like, what? Why is he saying that? If Nolan, I want to see what Nolan Ryan has to say about this. Nolan Ryan used to throw 230 plus pitches, used to go to the 11th inning and stuff like that. He didn't care,
right,
dude.
Man.
So
exactly right. And looking back, this analytics has kind of ruined the game. In 2020 World Series, you had the Blake Snell with the Rays, and that gave the Dodgers the World Series title for Game 6. And I think Jamal just thought the same thing as me. He said Blake Snell's looking at George Kirby right now like, bruh. And it's totally right. I mean, this analytics has just changed the game a little bit. These managers are doing a little too much. And I'm surprised the Mariners managers decided to keep him. 100 pitches is like the standard. Yeah, I think once you cross the 100 pitches, you're like, okay, it's time to get him out.
Yeah.
And, he was at 90 going into the seventh inning.
Mm-hmm.
Just one bad pitch. And that's how the game of baseball works sometimes, guys. And it's like one bad pitch could just change the whole outcome. It doesn't mean that you didn't have your stub. It's just one bad mistake sometimes.
Yeah. And I just want to say Blake Snell in the World Series, they took him out too early. And he was at 72 or 73 pitches, if I remember correctly.
That made no sense.
Yeah, that made no sense at all. I was at the stadium and I was like, okay, we got it. We won the World Series. Like this guy is coming out. He was lights out that game, dude, and the game before. So why not let him pitch? So that's why he's saying that. That's why Jamal's saying that, because they don't let him pitch past the third time around the batting order because his ERA goes up. And then you have Kirby saying that I wasn't ready and I didn't want to pitch that at 17. I'm like, come on, get out of here. Stop being a crybaby. And that's not how you do it, man. You go out there and compete all the time. And I mean,
he's still young. He's still a young pitcher. He's still learning, doesn't know, understand the way the old timers used to do it.
Yeah.
But he'll definitely learn to say what he has to say to the media going forward. I'll promise you that.
But from this point on, he better. Hey, let's go back to the Ryan Reyes. Like, we didn't want to dismiss your question, or so if we somehow manage to get Trout, what's our outfield looking like? Believing you're saying the Dodgers. You see the Dodger hat, I believe. And if I'm wrong, correct me. Like, I'm thinking Dodgers. Like, I just feel like the Dodgers go after him. They won't let him go for cheap because Artie Moreno doesn't want to deal with the Dodgers. So the Dodgers have to give up a bunch of stuff, and I'm pretty sure they want the pitching. And that's something that Dodgers are not going to give up because that's moving forward. They need to think about replacing Kershaw. They need to think about replacing Urias. They need to think about replacing the bullpen. You have a lot of pieces that are not going to make sense, but I don't think Trout's going to the Dodgers. I think the Dodgers are set in their outfield. They're okay. They have rookies, and they have rookies in the minor leagues. Coming up. You have Michael Busch that might play outfield. I know he's an infielder, but Gavin Lux is coming back as well. So you have all these key players that are coming back. So I don't see it. It would be awesome, but I just don't see it. But it would be awesome to have Mookie and Trout out there. It'll be really, really good. Yeah, you just said it. It'll be really nice for sure. All right, we're done with the Kirby topic. I think we got a little heated on that one.
Yeah, man, Kirby got us all upset over here. What the hell is this kid thinking? Who do you think he is? I think he's just frustrated, man. The Mariners are struggling right now. They were doing so well in August, Carlos. Remember, just a month back, we were discussing how, hey, man, these guys don't even really have these big name of players, and they're still winning. They didn't do nothing in the trade deadline. And now you're looking at them looking like their old selves, kind of struggling like the first half of the season. And they're kind of like fighting for that last wild card spot again for the Rangers. You will see how it all pans out the next 3 weeks, but the Mariners definitely have to get it back together, man. They're trying to make that playoff because, they're facing the Dodgers this weekend. So it's going to be also very interesting how that all goes.
That's going to be an interesting series to see if the Mariners have it or not. And this brings us to the next topic. We have all these teams going into the playoffs, and we want to make sure that if we do miss a team, go ahead and put it out there. But these are the 10 teams that we see that can potentially do something in the World Series if they get to the World Series. And this is the part of the show that we call, are they World Series bound or not? So if they're not, man, give a little bit of reason. I'll give my little bit of reason too. And if you're out there in the comments, make sure to comment on it. So let's go with the Braves, since they're the first ones on the list. And this is the power rankings. This morning, I saw it. I was like, oh, okay, I'll go ahead and put them up. Why not? They're all playoff teams. But the Braves, let's start with the Braves. Are the Braves World Series bound or not?
Yeah, we all know the answer is yes, Carlos. The Braves are just loaded. They have a roster from 1 to 9 that could compete with any other team here. Now, the only question is if the pitching decides to start acting up. I know they were kind of blew the save, Raisel Iglesias. He was with the Angels once, and he would struggle here and there closing some games. He had a pretty example today with the Phillies. He kind of gave up a 2-run bomb to Trey Turner, if I'm not mistaken. But he kind of choked a little bit today, and he has occasions here where he does mess up like that and blows saves. But other than that, I think the Braves are World Series bound, and I don't see nobody else trying to compete with them besides the Phillies in the National League right now.
Dude, I feel the same way. It's just the weekend I went and see them out in Dodger Stadium, they were on it. And to say that, the Dodgers are better than the Braves right now, like, no. It's just I feel like the Braves are a complete team from lineup to pitching to bullpen to even like your bench players. You have guys that can run and steal a base, move runners over. That counts a lot, and when you have teams that have a good bench, you do things, you do good things, and this is what's happening with them. So no surprise there. Let's move on to the next one. What about Baltimore? Are they World Series bound or not?
You know what? If you would have asked me a couple months, I would have been like, nah, they're too young. I don't trust them. But the way they've been dominating the AL East, the best division in baseball, they have a shot, Carlos. Every team in the American League has a shot to making it. Everybody's competing out there and, trying to give it their best shot. And the Orioles, while I do think they're young, I'm just kind of worried that they can't compete with the Astros experience.
So are they? Oh, did you say yes? No? Yes?
I want to say yes, but I don't think they can get past the Astros. If they face the Astros, I think I would worry for them.
Okay, gotcha. I'm gonna go ahead and say yes. Okay, I'll say yes. I'll say
All
yes.
right. Where'd that come from?
that one took forever, so I got to go. Like, well, there's a wolf in here. No, dude, I think the Baltimore Orioles have a good team. They're a bunch of young bucks, and remember, I said that they needed that leader, that person that was gonna get them over that hump to be a little bit better contenders. They didn't go and get someone big, a big name out there in the trades, so that kind of worried me a little bit. But you did say that they're the best, team in the AL. Not only that, they do play in the best division in baseball in the East. So I think Baltimore has a good pitching staff. They have a good bullpen. Their closer is down, so but they've been
Yeah.
doing good still. They still been doing good. I thought when they lost their closer, I thought they were gonna sink a little bit lower, but they're not. They still have that momentum. They're still going. They're going strong. So they are going to get that first bye, in the playoffs, but they could go all the way, and they can go all the way to the World Series. So I will say they are World Series bound. All right, let's go to the Dodgers, man. In this one, uh, a lot of things changed from last week to this week, and if I don't know if it's you're going to be in the same boat, but are the Dodgers World Series bound or not?
You know what? Every time I've doubted the Dodgers this year, they've proved me wrong, and they continuously offensively get the ball rolling every time for their pitchers. So, as much as I want to say with the Urias departure after everything that what happened, I'm still Urias wasn't pitching that great, Carlos. So I feel like
No.
these young guns are still going to do much better than what Urias was bringing to the tables.
Uh,
So I think the Dodgers could still compete out there, but I'm kind of worried with the Braves. I really do think the Braves have their number this year and just have the overall better roster. But the Dodgers, they're always in the mix, Carlos. And if they were to make it to the World Series, it will not be no surprise to no fan out there.
Okay. So Jamal just said the O's got some good news that Bautista may come back in the playoffs. So if that's I mean, it is a good news for them, and if he does come back, that's a lot of help for them because I mean, who doesn't need rest on their arm? I feel like the game is moving a little bit faster than what it was years before. Of course, the time has a lot to do with it, but because velocity has increased a lot too, I feel like these pitchers are getting hurt because they're not getting enough rest. Either they're not getting enough rest or they're not getting enough, you know, uh, nutrition like they're supposed to. So, we'll see if he does come back. But that's a good point. Thank you, Jamal, for putting that on here. I think the Dodgers, to be honest, and I'm a Dodger fan, I just feel I'm kind of scared for them because if they're gonna have that bye in the playoffs, you do need it. You're gonna have a bunch of rookies. You're gonna have Kershaw being the ace of that staff, and then you have everybody else behind him. You have Bobby Miller. You have Lance Lynn, which is not a rookie, but he's Mr. Home Run. He's batting cage pitching right there for me. Like I mean, I just feel like this man serves it up all the time, and I don't think he's play. I mean, he can be a different pitcher in the playoffs, right? But
Right.
yeah, until we get into the playoffs, that's the only way we're going to see how he pitches. So we have another one, Ryan Reyes. Only if they can somehow beat the Braves, and that's a good point. If they can beat the Braves, they can probably be the World Series champs. Um, but like I said, we would have to wait and see. And Ernie, you just said it. It's been surprising all year. I didn't pick the Dodgers to win the division. I didn't pick them to even no. I picked them to win the wild card, but not the
Right.
division. I picked the Padres to win the division, and I know it sucks. I'm a Dodger fan. I shouldn't be doing that, but it's just baseball. When you're a
Hey,
baseball
man.
fan and you're looking at the paper sometimes it looks kind of intriguing, and you're like, oh damn, I'm gonna pick this team, right?
You picked the Padres to jinx them, Carlos. Just tell everybody how it really went down.
Nah, man, I can't jinx the Padres. How am I going to jinx the Padres?
You guys saw Tatis was dancing his way out of the playoffs yesterday, man. With Mr. Orbit over there.
Hey, dude, since we're talking about Tatis, did you see the Air? I guess what is it? The Air Jordans he's going to wear today. He's going to have.
Oh yeah, they look so cool, man. How many
I wish I had the
does that thing
picture.
have?
I don't know, but he's going to be
They
flexing out there.
After this, we're gonna go watch the games and see Tatis new cleats, man. Looks like there's some amazing diamonds in there. Looks like some expensive shoes out there.
I know, Ryan. I know, man. I'm a Dodgers fan, but look at the roster the Padres have. Why not? And then the Dodgers, they lost Trey Turner, they lost Bellinger, they lost
Gavin
what's his
Lux for
name,
the season.
Gavin Lux to the season. So it's like, come on, man. Like I
No
just felt
Walker
like
Bueller.
Tommy John. You had all these things that happened to the Dodgers this year. So if anything, I think Dave Roberts deserves to be the coach of the year
Yeah.
because he did a great job getting the Dodgers this far to getting them to the finish line. And Urias, let's put Urias out there too. That happened. So yeah, I think he can be the manager of the year. So you can't boo me so much because of that. Let me go ahead and put the what do you call it, the banner back up. Sorry. I took it off because they want to see our face. Who is it on the show? All right. So yeah, I think they are World Series contenders, and they will go if they beat the Braves to the World Series. I'm pretty sure they have a good shot at it. All right, the Mariners, are they World Series bound or not?
You know what? I feel like only Luis Castillo is the only pitcher out there that's really throwing great pitching out there, and the only unhittable pitcher out there in baseball right now for the Mariners. I don't know, man. I don't see the roster capable of winning all and making it all the way to the World Series. How about you? I question like the talent level on that roster.
Dude, after what we talked about earlier with the pitcher, saying that he should have not been out there, and I think
Right.
I'm kind of setting myself back. I know I said it that they're going to go to the World Series over the Astros. What was
Mm-hmm.
it, 2 weeks ago, or was it last week? I believe. Um, I'm kind of having second doubts on that because they should be playing better baseball. They should be, you know, in first place, and they're not. So they were really hot in August. They cooled down, and the pressure's getting to them. I just feel like maybe they're not World Series contenders. Maybe next week I'll change my mind. Every week I've been having different thoughts on different teams, but I do see Seattle kind of do. They are going to make that wild card spot because Texas. We'll talk about Texas because they're on here later, but I do feel like they're a wild card contender. They could go to the second, second series of the playoffs. So I'm picking them to not make it to the World Series. They're not World Series bound for me. All right, let's
Yeah.
go to the the Milwaukee Brewers. Are they World Series bound or not?
You know what? The Brewers always let me down every year, Carlos. Until proven wrong, I'm saying not World Series bound.
Not World Series bond, and I feel the same way. I know we talked about them because they have a good three starters on that team. You have Peralta. You have damn, I can't think of all the names right now. I should all know all this stuff. I don't know why
Brandon
I don't.
Woodruff, Corbin
Woodruff
Burns.
and Corbin Burns. If they get and they start clicking like they're supposed to in the playoffs, I think they can do some damage. But they're streaky hitters too. They're not hitters that are playing baseball like every day that to win home runs. They're getting the right hit. They're clicking at the right time. I just feel like they're not enough to make it to the World Series. So no, they can't. They're not. They're a no for me. Let's go to the Phillies. Are the Phillies
You know,
World Series bound or not?
you know what? They've been the hottest team in the second half of the season. And every World Series, a wild card team most of the time makes it to the World Series. So, the Phillies is one of the hottest teams out there. And I'm sorry, Chewy, but there is a possibility the Phillies could beat the Braves out there. And, when a team comes in hot, there's always a chance. So I guess I could see the Phillies have a chance with Trey Turner in that lineup, Bryce Harper. Even though Cross Schwarber doesn't get a lot of base hits, he always hits those bombs. And they just have a lot of depth in there. So I trust the Phillies to make a deep run for the playoffs.
Joshua, how's it going? Thanks for joining the show, man. If you haven't done so, hit the like button, subscribe. The Phillies, dude, I think the Phillies could beat the Braves, and that's because it's a East Coast rivalry there. And they were in the World Series last year, but I still think that Braves are going to be on top. Why? Because they don't want to get beat for the second time. They don't want to look like that team that didn't perform last year. And if it happens twice, man, I don't think it's gonna happen like that. I think the Braves have enough pitching, like I said, and hitting, and you have two caliber MVP players on that team, man. So,
Yeah.
are they World Series bound? Yes, but they got to beat the Braves. So, I don't
Yeah.
know, dude. I don't think I would. What do I say, man? Okay, so look, if they go against the Braves, I don't think they're gonna go. If they go against the Dodgers, I think the Phillies could beat the Dodgers, and so I would say World Series bound. World Series
Okay.
bound for me. Yeah, they are. I'll leave it at that. All right, let's go with the Astros. Are they World Series? I mean, the Astros, dude. They've been in the World Series the past what 5-6 years already.
You
So
know what? They're always in the mix, and every time I look at that lineup, Carlos, it's a strong lineup. You know, you talk
it's
about
scary, isn't it? It's scary.
from 1 to 7, you're just like, what the hell? All these guys could hit. You know, got Kyle Tucker, Jose Abreu, that's not even having a great year, but you still have such a great power hitter out there in the middle of the lineup. And you know, Bregman has kind of cooled down from his past, but hey, man, when this October comes around, the Astros just decide to come back around and start to hit. So, man, they'll be surprised if the Astros are back in the mix. Dusty Baker does a great job to get these guys back into the right mindset and playing the game the right way.
Yeah, yeah, and I agree, dude. The Astros, they have everything going for them right now. They're in first place in the West. It took them all year to get there, but they're there again. And I say again because it's like every year this team is on there. Every year they go ahead and get someone new and they put them on the team, and for some reason they become good. So they're doing good things in Houston. World Series for sure. I do see them going to the World Series from the American League. I think I'm picking them as top, and I said the Mariners were going to be in there, but the Astros are changing my mind. I don't want them to be there, but I mean, it is what it is, right? Tampa Bay. Are they World
Man.
Series bound or not?
You know what? I think they just have too many injuries with the pitching staff, and with the Wander Franco situation, I just don't see them competing with these top teams like the Astros or, you know, it's just going to be tough with the Orioles and Astros playing such great baseball. I don't see the Rays competing with them.
Dude, you know what I have about against the Rays is just Kevin Cash. He's too analytical sometimes. He just needs to let it happen sometimes to where he's like, if the pitcher is feeling it, let him out there. You know, like don't just go out based off analytics. If you see he has a no hitter and he's only thrown 50 something pitches and he's in the 6th inning, not just because the pitcher's going to face the batting order for the 3rd time, you're going to take him out. No, dude. Let him in there, like talk to him, like, hey, how do you feel? And if the pitcher says, I feel great, or you know what, I don't feel like going out there, then let him be, dude. But I just feel Kevin Cash is too analytical. I just feel like that's not helping the team. That because the team is awesome in itself. Look how hot they started the season. They were really good.
I think the analytics helps for the regular season and helps them make it to the playoffs every year. But once playoffs come around, that's when you really have to go with your heart sometimes. And it's sort of these MLB managers to go with a little bit too much statistics, a little bit too much numbers. And as a fan out here, we're just kind of like, you know, just go with the gut sometimes.
Yeah, go old school, man. Why not do the old school way of playing baseball? Like, you feel it? Do it. You know, like do it. All right, let's go to the next one. The Cubs, man. We have the Cubs. Are they World Series bound or not?
You know, I've been a big fan of the Cubs these past couple months, and I wouldn't be surprised. You know, like I mentioned before earlier in the segment, there's always this one team that gets hot and decides to make a run for it. And the Cubs could be that shocker of a team. They do have depth in their offense, and the pitching has a pretty good rotation. And, you know, they had a rough weekend against Diamondbacks for some reason, but they're also fighting for the wild card. Can the Cubs make it to the World Series? I want to say yes. I think that's the one team here in this top 10 teams that could make a shocker to everyone. Would it happen? Probably not, but they definitely have the potential to make a deep run if they wanted to. They could be last year's surprise at the Phillies and Padres.
Gotcha. That one's a good one, dude. I didn't think you were going to say the Cubs have a chance to make it all the way to the World Series. I feel like maybe they can if their pitching steps up and their hitting starts clicking at the right time. I just feel like the Cubs just need that they have the 1-2 starter. They need a number 3. They didn't go ahead and get them in the trade deadline. And for me, I'm gonna say a no. Where's the boo? I mean, I know there's a lot of Cubs fans out there that were like, boo, you know, like why not? But I just feel like they need that extra pitching starter. And I don't know, man. Cody Bellinger is good in the playoffs. He's gonna surprise a lot of people.
He's chucked in the past. He's chucked in the past.
No, but he's always been with the Dodgers. He's done really good in the playoffs. He's one of those John Peterson. Yeah, that experience will help. And then you have Stroman that he's played in the WBC. He took that attitude into this season, and he's pitched really great. So having those type of players in that team might change my mind, but for now I'm gonna say no. And yeah, boo, right? So we'll keep
Right,
it there.
right, right.
All right, let's go to the next one. The Texas Rangers, are they World Series bound or not?
Oh man, I think everybody will tell you it's a clearly no. One of the hottest first half seasons teams we had all year, and just stunk it up for the second half. And we don't know what's going on, but they're not performing. Josh Jung went down for the year. They went out for Max Scherzer, and it just has not made a big difference for them. So that's a clear no for me, and I think everybody here in the chat would also agree with me.
Yeah, man, they just went down completely. Like they lost it to the Astros, they lost it to the Mariners, and they're what 2 games behind the wild card spot, the last wild card
Now,
spot. So
they're a half game back now because the Mariners
half
had a
game.
terrible weekend. But even if they
Ah,
make it, Carlos, I don't think they could compete out there with the Astros or the Orioles. So I don't know,
okay.
man. It's not looking great.
Yeah, I just feel like the Rangers, for me, they went and get Max Scherzer. They thought they were going to be like, okay, cool, we got a good starter. With the Grom not being there again. Well, he wasn't. He this is his first year with the Rangers, but you know what I'm saying. He's not. He hasn't been pitching a lot. And he got a big contract with the Rangers, so it didn't pan out like it was supposed to. And they played good baseball from out the gate. They've been playing good baseball all throughout. It's just, do they have enough? Um, Corey Seager is just a streaky hitter for me. Like he was with the Dodgers, he was the same way. But I don't see them even making the playoffs this year. Boo, if there's a Rangers fan out there, but that's how I feel. Like, and we have other teams that are not on the banner, but you have the Giants, you have the D-backs. Um, are they playoff? I mean, are they World Series bound? Me, that's why we didn't put them up there. I don't think they are. If you disagree, go ahead and put it in the comments. I mean, I know we have this open forum for you guys, so you guys can put all this stuff on here. But yeah, dude, I just feel like the Giants, I don't know why they're there. I said it all year. Why? Why are they there?
No,
So
you make a good point.
yeah. Hey guys, see you next time. Gotta get ready for Disneyland tomorrow. Hey man, have fun, dude. Thanks for joining the show, man. We like this, like I said. So we'll see you next week, man. Thank you.
All right, thanks for
Yeah,
tuning
dude.
in.
Yeah, thanks for tuning in, dude. And then Chewy saying Rangers fans, yeah, dude. I don't know. They're having this beef with the Houston Astros, so that's good for baseball, right?
Yeah, that's true. Let them
Yeah,
fight it out.
yeah. That's really good, dude. So, all right. If we missed your team and we didn't mention them, go ahead and put it on the comments. But I think we went through all of them, and we do have the Did You Know, which we haven't gone through, and we have time still for that. So we'll go
Did you
ahead
want to
and
talk
do
about
that
the rule
now.
change? Do you want to talk about the rule change?
Oh
Or
yeah, we still have that. So yeah, you know what? Let's just go over it then. So we did say that we were gonna go through the what is it, the extra innings, and it's just
okay.
us as fans, kind of picking that a little rule out there. If you had the chance to change the extra innings scenario, what would it be? Like, do you have one?
You know what? We got to go back to the old way. It just doesn't make sense that in the postseason, this extra inning ghost runner rule doesn't apply, but it only applies to the regular season. And with the pitch time clock going on now, the game is moving at such a fast pace, Carlo. Most of these games are finishing within 2 hours, 2 hours and a half. I think we just need to go back to the old way. I'm an old timer, I guess, and I just want to go back to the old extra inning rule. I just feel like this ghost runner is such a huge advantage for the home team. And,
Yeah.
it doesn't always work out that way, but it's a big advantage for the home team. I'm not a big fan of it. The game's already short as it is, and I know they're trying to speed up the season, but hey, man, if you really want to speed up the season, let's not play 162 games then.
That's true. That's true. But I got a different take on it. I actually feel like
Okay.
the MLB can do something different. They can go ahead and make it a little bit more funner. Like and remember, I'm old school. I'm not one of those who'd be like, oh, you know what? It's good to change the game. Let's put a time. Like I was against it at the beginning of the season. Remember, I was against
Right.
all these changes and the big base. Like Chewy, since you're out here, like the big base. That's why Acuna's stealing more bases. Just playing. He's saying, Chewy's saying, Josh is asking what happened to the Yankees. Man, the Yankees are the Yankees, and they're not going to do so good. They're not going to make the playoffs. Can they get Mike Trout? They definitely can. He can go out there and be a good Yankee, but they do have the big man out there, Giancarlo
So,
Stanton, that's not doing so
yes.
good.
But they
And
have a new prospects. Jason Dominguez had a terrible news though. He tore his UCL today.
that's
Project,
crazy.
Projected to be 9 to 10 months out of the season. But with the Bryce Harper returning back within like 6 months, anything is possible. He should probably be ready by next season, mid-season. Hey man, that guy looks incredible. The Martian, they call him.
Yeah.
And they also have this new kid called Austin Wells. There's a lot of future with the Yankees. There's nothing, it was one bad year, but they're going to change it around. And the Steinbrenners always want the best product out there for their fans. So
Yeah, dude. Yeah, dude. So yeah, man, that's what the Yankees. They're not making playoffs, so we'll keep it at that. And I know if Josh, you're watching, man, that's what I got for the Yankees, dude. Like I'm not trying to hate on them. It's just what it is, So let's see. Chewy just answered. He said, Cunha got a steel ligament with intro. Yeah. He did, dude. I feel like they put something else on there so he can steal bases, but the bigger bases help too. So Braves fans are gonna hate on me. Okay, but let me get into what I was trying to say with the extra innings. So, what about how the Sox in soccer they have the penalties, right? They have
Right.
penalties. They have 5 players, and they all kick their penalty. What if you have your DH hitter pass? If this is the extra innings, if you have your DH hitter come up to the plate and gets only 3 pitches, out of those 3 pitches, if he hits a home run, that counts as a point for you. I'm going way off it, right? But just
a
think
little
about
too
it.
off.
Exactly. So you're not wasting time. You're not wasting the pitcher because sometimes you travel all the way to the East Coast if you're from the West Coast, or if you're from the East Coast to the West Coast, you're wasting pictures if you're going out to the in extra innings. So now you don't have to deal with that. Now you just have to put your DH out there, throw three pitches, and whoever hits more home runs in those 3 pitches wins the game. So
What? Carlos, I don't know, man. I don't know if everybody's gonna agree with this. Where
no,
did you come up with this?
that's what I'm saying. It's just something that popped up in my head, and it's way out there, way out of
It's way
left field.
way off left field. Yeah, man.
Exactly,
It's a
exactly.
4. Yeah, man. I mean, it's a great idea if you want to speed up the game. You're totally
Yeah,
right. But I mean, I don't know if every team would have a great DH hitter like that. Not everybody's privileged. What if your DH hitter's hurt and you don't have somebody out there that could really hit?
yeah. Well, that's the benefit of going after a DH. So, see, I'm not saying I'm for it. I'm just saying, what if they decide to do something like that? Like I just feel like the extra inning sometimes. I feel like it's still wasting time. Putting the runner on second base kind of guarantees you a win if you're the home team if you play it right. If you bunt them over, you have one out, you have someone at third, you can get a fly ball, you win the game. But they're not playing that type of baseball right now. They're playing different baseball, but that's how I would do it. But I'm
Okay.
just thinking like, okay, they want to speed up the game. They want to move it forward. Why not have your DH come out there for 3 pitches, see how many home runs? Will fans get engaged on that? Would you get more fans going into it? So they're trying to get all these millennials to watch the game, right? So if you do something like that, you go, oh, this is gonna go extra innings. You know how in hockey they go the penalties, soccer they go penalties. So that's kind of fun and exciting in itself. But
Yeah, it
imagine
really
they do
is.
that with baseball. I mean, it's different. I know it's different, but I'm thinking a little bit different. And like I don't know, if they want to
Hey,
speed up the
man.
game.
Call Rob Manfred right now. Let him know your ideas.
He's gonna be like, hell no.
Who's this guy?
Yeah. Yeah, I
Nah,
don't
for
know.
sure.
I just wanted to throw that out there. I know it's kind of way out of left field, and Chewy just put that on here for sure. Yeah, it's one of those like, I don't know. All right, guys, let's go into the Did You Know? And this week in Did You Know, Ernie got a good one, and let's let him take over the mic right now.
All right. So, did you know this week? I'm not sure if you guys are big fans of football, but with the change of college football recently, the man, Deion Sanders, primetime, has changed an organization of Colorado into 2-0, a team that won 1 game last season. Well, if you guys didn't know, Deion Sanders actually played 2 sports. He played football and baseball. He's one of the first athletes to ever play in a World Series and win 2 Super Bowls. So this guy was really talented. Asked in an interview, he says baseball was the hardest sport and that the baseball would do things to you. That football was clearly the easiest sport out there. This guy, he did something so great once. He actually scored a touchdown in 1 week. And then in the same week, he hit a home run. which had never been done. A guy that played defense in football and still scored a touchdown and still went back to Atlanta and he was in New York at the time, and he got a home run. It was kind of an impressive stat, never been heard of. What a talented player we had. And I'm kind of jealous, Carlos, that I didn't get to see him to play much. I've only seen documentaries, seen highlights, and it's one of those things that, everybody I talked to prime time was a real deal.
Yeah, dude, he was really good. I remember seeing them when I was a kid. I remember my dad and my brother always talked about Deion Sanders playing with the Falcons and saying, "Oh, I think he has a playoff game later on with the Braves." So I don't know how true or how vivid my memory is, but I remember them saying that. Oh yeah, we were listening to the game. We were at a Thrifty. I don't know if you remember what a Thrifty was. A Thrifty was where you get your ice cream and stuff like that. And they were saying Deion Sanders, he's playing football right now, but he's going to play with the Braves in the playoffs later. And I was just like, how does that happen? Does that, is that even, does that even, can you even do that? And, he did it. He did that.
It's kind of interesting how the contracts worked in a favor for him to be able to play two sports. Could that happen today? That's the question. I put in my mind, you're right. He did have to play 2 games in one day, and he had to get a private jet and fly to another state, another stadium, play another game. Yeah. But my question is, Carlos, how did this guy manage to practice both sports at the same time?
Talented. He's talented. And not only that, but you put in the work. You have to put in the work. I don't know if you've seen the videos, him speaking to his football team out in Colorado. The man can speak. The man, preaches really good. Exactly. He's a big time leader. So this man knows what he's doing. Like you said in that interview he said baseball is the hardest thing he's ever had to do. And that's why he took on that challenge. He said, I'm going to try to do that because that's the hardest thing to do. And I'm just going to go ahead and say, Chewy, he did play for the 49ers. So he did win the Super Bowl with the 49ers first before they won it with the Cowboys. That is true. And not only that, they beat the crap out of the Chargers in that Super Bowl. So I don't know, man. I think he did better with the 49ers. I'm just saying that. And I'm a Chargers fan, so that one hurts.
You know what? And there's Chargers, man. They let you down again yesterday. Sorry, Carlos.
Exactly.
Hey, but honorable mentions. There was other players that were doing this back in the 90s. You have the Bo Jacksons. You guys are familiar with Brian Jordan that played for the Braves. He also played football. And not only that, Michael Jordan was the one that played basketball and baseball, which is also interesting. He never made it to the pros, but he was still out there with Terry Francona in the minors, which is kind of impressive. To hear that he was being taught by Terry Francona.
Yeah, dude, that's crazy, huh? That's crazy how all these names come up and you're like, oh, he did this with him? What? No way. That's crazy. Dude, thanks for that. Did you know? If you didn't know, now you know.
Hey, that's what's up.
Yeah. Guys, we reached that point in time that we got to go and log out. The power hour is finished. We're a little bit over, but that's what happens when we have questions. We're interactive and we're talking and we're having fun and discussing baseball. I know football is on right now, and it's going to be a little bit harder to compete with that because there's more football fans. But if you go and hit that like and subscribe, we will really appreciate it. Last mention, Ernie, before we log off.
Well, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. It was a great show, and I hope you guys got to learn something new today, just like the way we always learn something new about baseball. I know football's going on, so we do appreciate you guys watching Real Talk Baseball over Monday Night Football. I mean, Aaron Rodgers went down. It sounds like it's a pretty serious injury out there. So Real Talk Baseball is where it's at. So thanks for tuning in.
Yeah. All right. Well, as the weeks happen and go by, we're going to go into playoff baseball. Fantasy baseball is about to finish, but we'll have some news and still get on Fridays. And he will talk about the baseball that's happening between the week. And we will come on Mondays, which is a 7 o'clock show. If you guys want to tune in on that Friday show, it's at 5 p.m., 8 o'clock Eastern. And here it's 7 p.m. Pacific time and 10 Eastern, I believe. So I'm Carlos Baseball. This is Ernie Orange, Real Talk Baseball, signing out.